welcome to the Absolute Recap Biology Edition. I'm your host, Melanie Kingett, and I'll be your guide to scoring a 5. Here at the Absolute Recap, we aim to maximize your understanding and minimize your need for memorization. Each episode will review content, skills, and test-taking tips to help you succeed in May. Your recap starts now. Hi, and welcome to the Absolute Recap Biology Edition. Today's episode will recap FRQ strategies. Let's zoom out. FRQ stands for Free Response Question. While there are no specific length requirements, it is definitely better to emphasize quality over quantity. The new digital exam is 45 minutes long, includes 2 FRQs, and is only on material from Units 1 through 6. Because the 2020 exam is open notes, the questions are designed to test your ability to interpret data and apply information to unknown circumstances. Let's zoom in. The first FRQ is 25 minutes long, accounts for 65% of your score, and is about interpreting and evaluating experimental results. You will be presented with an authentic scenario, accompanied by a data table and/or a graph. In Part A, you need to describe and explain biological concepts, processes, or models in an applied context. For Part B, identify and justify the experimental design procedures. You will need to analyze data in Part C. And lastly, Part D has you make and justify predictions. The second FRQ is 15 minutes long, accounts for 35% of your score, and is about conceptual analysis. You will be presented with an authentic scenario describing a biological phenomenon and some type of disruption. In Part A, you will need to describe biological concepts or processes as they apply to the scenario. Part B has you explaining biological concepts or processes in applied context. You must predict the causes or effects of a change in a biological system in Part C. And lastly, Part D, support or justify a claim with reasoning or evidence. The key phrase used for both free response questions is in applied context. The task verbs are describe, justify, analyze, predict, and support. These will not be questions you can Google, and please don't waste precious time doing so. You will not earn points for knowing simple facts or terms. You also want to get right to the answer. Do not waste time rewriting the question as an introductory sentence. I say this knowing that it makes every English teacher cringe, but every AP biograder very happy. Practice makes perfect. This is a slightly overused phrase, but in this context, I believe practice makes comfort. You need to practice completing FRQs in as close to the same scenario as the testing day as possible. Find your testing space. Clear away distractions. That means your phone too. TikTok can wait. Have good lighting and comfortable, but not too comfortable, seating. FRQ often and repeat. You want May 18th to feel as familiar as possible. We do know the timestamps for each question and the actions expected of you. So, open up a practice question, start a timer, and start typing. Once time runs out, keep writing your responses, but make sure to change the font color. This will allow you to reflect on what you were able to accomplish within the allotted time and what you knew after time had elapsed. If you are opting to handwrite your responses, you can still practice this technique with 2 differently colored pens. You want to make sure to separate your answers for each response section, A through D. Also, make sure to practice taking a picture of your answers and uploading your responses to your computer. Only those responses that are submitted within the 5-minute upload time will be graded. The AP testing platform does have a timer feature, but you can minimize it if it makes you anxious or is a distraction. There are still many unknowns about the new testing platform, but the College Board is releasing more information in the coming weeks. You will need to unpack the questions. It is highly likely that these questions will follow lengthy prompts with terminology, scientists, organisms, and molecules that you have never studied. It may also include extra information not necessary for your understanding and explanation. Don't be overwhelmed. Translate the question out of AP language and into I'm sitting at home with my dog language. You need to look for the concept behind the question. What is it really asking you? How does it connect to what you already know? Students often find it helpful to skip to the end of the prompt to read the questions first, then go back and and read the scenario, knowing what you should be on the lookout for. Use your words wisely and avoid having what I like to call science vomit. Don't spit back terminology, or even worse, define words in the question. The readers do not need you to remind them what the endosymbiosis theory is. Be short and impactful with your answers, in full sentences, no bullet points. This may be an uncommon recommendation, but have some scrap paper nearby. Jotting down key phrases, making a quick flowchart, or concept sketch. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and just because you are typing your answer doesn't mean that a 30-second brain dump won't be helpful. To recap, the 2 free response questions on the 2020 exam are about interpreting and evaluating experimental results and conceptual analysis. 25 minutes for FRQ 1 and 15 minutes for FRQ 2. Choose your words wisely and make sure your answers refer back to the prompt, analyzing, justifying, and predicting as requested. Today's question of the day is about the science practices. Which science practice will not be represented on the 2020 exam? For the answer to today's and future questions, please follow us on Instagram at TheApsoluteRecap. That's the APsolute recap. If you are a student with questions or a teacher with suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a biology topic or another AP subject you would like us to cover on the Absolute Recap, please email us at theapsoluterecap@gmail.com. That's the APsolute recap@gmail.com. The Absolute Recap is produced by Brad Kingett with music by Zach Caruso. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Time's up, pencils down. Thank you for listening to the Absolute Recap Biology Edition. AP is a registered trademark of the College Board. Copyright 2020 Absolute Recap LLC, all rights reserved. Coming up next on the Absolute Recap Biology Edition, some math reminders.